Our next presenter is Asma Sayed from the Department of English at Kwantlen Polytechnic University. Asma is a Tier 2 Canada Research Chair from 2020 to 2024 in South Asian Literacy and Cultural Studies at Kwantlen Polytechnic University. She is an internationally recognized scholar and public intellectual known for her groundbreaking research on heritage language literature in Canada. Her interdisciplinary, transitional approach to cultural production, and her engagement with issues of equity, diversity, and inclusion. Her current research focuses on the contribution of South Asian Canadian artists.
My name is Asma Sayed, and I am a Canada Research Chair in South Asian Literary and Cultural Studies in the Department of English at Kwantlen Polytechnic University in British Columbia. I'm presenting this from Edmonton, so I would like to acknowledge that I am on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional meeting grounds, gathering place, and traveling route to the Cree, Saulteaux, Blackfoot, Métis, Dene, and Nakota Sioux. I acknowledge all the many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit whose footsteps have marked these lands for centuries. I have research interests in postcolonial literature with an emphasis on narratives of exile and displacement from South Asia, as well as feminist literary and cultural studies related to these geographies, especially in the context of South Asian diaspora in Canada. My research and social activism also focus on the marginalization of gendered and racialized people socially and as represented in literature, film, and media. My current research centers on the contributions of South Asian Canadian artists from 1910 to 2010 and under-examined yet significant area of Canadian cultural production. I use the term artists to refer to creative producers such as writers, filmmakers, and visual artists. Specifically, I'm interested in two aspects. Firstly, writers creating in their heritage languages and their contributions to the canon of Canadian literature. Secondly, the contributions of South Asian Canadian artists to the discourse of social justice. The South Asian diaspora is one of the largest groups of migrants and includes approximately 20 million people globally. In Canada, approximately 5.6%, or close to 2 million people, identify themselves as of South Asian origin. The history of South Asians in Canada dates back to the end of the 19th century. Among those who settle in Canada are many talented artists who make contributions in a number of languages. These artistic productions are integral to understanding Canada's sociocultural history as they speak volumes about resistance, cultural retention, and social justice. My work is comparative and multilingual. I study the work of South Asian Canadian writers in Canada in the context of the politics of language. Canadian artists working in non-official languages remain marginalized. I argue for the inclusion of writers working in non-official languages in the canon of Canadian literature and the need for analyzing Canadian literature with new epistemological approaches rooted in decolonial methodologies and techniques. To that end, I am working on a multilingual anthology which will collect and translate into English literary pieces written by South Asian Canadian artists. This anthology is an attempt to bring literary and cultural pieces produced in heritage languages into the broader narratives of Canadian cultural production. It is important for our scholarship to be inclusive and represent voices of all the diverse artists. I'm also examining South Asian Canadian artists' contribution to the discourse of social justice and the way these artists have fostered a just and empathetic Canadian society. Artists can challenge stereotypes and raise awareness about real-world issues that affect us on a day-to-day basis. South Asian Canadian artists, through fiction, autoethnographic narratives, film, visual art, and theater, have highlighted many social, cultural, and political concerns about oppression and discrimination faced by Canadians within and outside of their immediate ethnic communities. Whether it is Deepa Mehta making films about the conditions of widows in India, Sharon Bala writing about Tamil asylum seekers, Rupi Kaur challenging sexual violence, Vivek Shraya questioning sociocultural perceptions of gender, or Farzana Doctor writing about female genital mutilation, these artists add a unique voice of social justice to Canada's creative output. Using an intersectional social justice and critical hope framework, I analyze literary and visual texts to establish theories and methodologies of interpreting creative expressions as sites of sociopolitical change and activism. I'm also building a digital encyclopedia of these contributions through my about-to-be-launched digital portal, South Asian Canadian Network. It will develop and mobilize knowledge about the contributions of South Asian Canadians and serve as an open access teaching and research tool in service of flexible learning and open pedagogy. My research allows me to advocate for literary and cultural productions in heritage languages and to bring recognition to marginalized artists. My research also helps my work as a university teacher as it provides me with opportunities to involve my students in a myriad of ways and to engage with the community at large. Thanks for this opportunity to share my research with you.